Beautiful. This is what I'm looking for. This stand of Douglas fir that's 5-minute walk from Chef Paul's house is actually the most eastern stand of this tree, if not on the planet, in Canada, for sure. So the reason why I want to highlight this tree for Chef Paul is because I know he's in love with them. He walks these trails all the time. He passes these trees. It's the first thing he told me when I knew that I was going to be joining him in wild harvesting close to his house was, you've got to see the Douglas fir trees. And his eyes sparkled and lit up. First thing I want from this beautiful Douglas fir is some sprigs. I want the needles. Now, truth be told, it would be better if I was here in the spring when the ends of the sprigs of needles are light-colored green, and you can, I mean, they're just delicious. You can make shortbread with them. They're wonderful, but I'm late in the season. And then I look up, and yeah, take a look up there. That's not happening. So I was actually a little disappointed. I thought, well, I can't, there's no young ones, I can't. And then I looked down, and I noticed, oh, wait a minute. There's one laying on the ground. And then I looked, oh, there's another. So, here we go. So that is one way to harvest from a plant that is, in this case, getting very rare. The unfortunate side of that story is that through fires and through logging, the word is decimation. The inland Douglas fir has been pretty much decimated in Alberta. So there are only a few beautiful ones left. And so the harvesting I want to do to make it special for Paul is just whatever is littered around on the forest floor here, and this will do. This right here is also what I want. A little bit of forest debris is all it looks like, but what it really is are the old cones from the Douglas fir. Now the seeds are gone, so this is forest floor duff at this point. Saw this when I walked by. Some bark, for whatever reason, has been knocked off. So I think what I'll do is finish my gathering here, spend a little time with this beautiful, beautiful Douglas fir tree.
This is pretty amazing. Being 5 minutes from my house, for how many times I've been here, I've not actually stopped to take in the moment, to sit back and breathe and take it all in.
Well, this beauty at some point saw a fire. Now, whether or not that's a lightning strike or it was a ground fire coming up, I think that's probably the case because the top of it is all healthy. It's been living here a long time with this injury. Powerful, powerful trees. Well, my friend, what I want to get from you is some of this hard pitch that's come out. This actually is formed a long time ago when the tree was trying to protect itself, trying to heal itself from such a nasty scar. Taking a little bit right now is not going to bother it so much.
This is incredible.
Isn't this crazy? And I found this just by being curious while I was scouting, looking around to see what I could find in terms of wild edibles, and I really didn't know where I was going. And I had one of those bitten with that bug of, oh, I wonder what's up over there. I wonder what's around that next corner. And so I looked up here and I thought, I got to climb that rock and just see what's up here, and found this. And I thought, this is where I'd like to bring you.
Amazing.
Rather than just give you this first plant as a culinary delight, something we can put in a salad or you can cook or dig up in any way, shape, or form, simply eat, I'm going to throw you a little bit of a loop. This one you can't eat. It's an aromatic.
Okay.
And it's right behind you. It's right at your hands right there. That's big sagebrush. Grab some and have a smell. See your eyes come alive with it.
Aromatherapy.
Isn't that great?
Straight up. Oh, wow, that's intense.
Yeah.
And, you know, it's dimensional. It doesn't really have just one floral tone to it. It's all over the landscape.
So it's really easy to get confused and think, oh, it's sage. It's actually not the sage family at all. Sage is in the mint family. This is an entirely different genus, Artemisia tridentata, sagebrush. And in fact, it's toxic. So we can't eat the leaves, but as an aromatic, is it working for you?
Oh, I love it. It's great. I'm blown away. One smell, like even the residual on my fingers right now.
I just thought if you could kind of sculpt the meal around this Western sagebrush, and the fact that it is an aromatic, so you can incorporate it into the recipe as well in one way, shape, or form, I thought would be exciting for us.
Yeah, I like this. This is a good one.
Gonna work?
Yeah.
All right, well, let's go on to the next one. Growing in arid or semi-arid conditions, you can find big sagebrush in the North American West from British Columbia to Baja California and across to New Mexico. Look for it in the mountains, cold deserts, and steppes. All right, Paul, come on in. I did say to you at one point, we were chatting, I said, you know, the next plant is almost the opposite of the first plant being the sagebrush. Why I say that is because the sagebrush, it's not a culinary plant really, it's aromatic. And we can't even ingest it because it's toxic. This is the opposite. Every part of this plant is edible all year long. So this is the arrow-leafed balsam root, and this is your mainstay for the meal. The challenge is not every part is so palatable. What you'll find with this is that the larger, older leaves, they tend to get a bit fibrous, but you can offset that by cooking them. The root is actually the most cherished part. It's kind of like a carrot in a way. So there's always a little bit of bitterness to deal with with plants like these.
Wow. There's a lot of aroma there as well. It smells like pine resin. It's intense.
It is.
It really is. Like this is going to be a challenge to knock that flavor down.
Yeah.
Like boiling's a good idea. The leaves are extremely bitter.
Bitter, eh?
Yeah.
Did you try the petals?
I did, not as bitter. I actually liked them, but they still had a bitter undertone, but it's a different bitter. Definitely manageable.
We're going down here. You recognize anything?
I think I see some nettle.
Well, what you see is urtica.
Urtica.
Also known as nettle. So yes,
Okay.
we are standing in amongst stinging nettle. And nettle is delicious. Have you worked with nettle?
I have.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Well
Yeah.
then, this is your day, because we are in a time of year right now where the nettle's all just coming up. You can see, look, it's all like 2-3 inches, maybe 4 inches maximum. So it's nice and tender, nice and young. You know about the stinging effect. Those little needles, they're like little hypodermic needles. They're hollow and they contain formic acid. You know what else has formic acid?
No, maybe rose bushes?
The sting of a red ant.
Oh, okay.
Same thing. So the sting of a red ant and the sting of stinging nettle is formic acid. So I'm not going to gather it all this time. This is all for you to harvest. You already know the plant, so you know which one to pick. But also, did you know you can eat the roots?
No.
Right, so gather some of the tender young roots as well.
Okay.
The roots, the shoots, the leaves, just gather the whole plant. All right, there's lots of it. It's fantastically abundant. So Paul, enjoy your nettle. It's on you. I'm gonna go find another plant. Originally from Europe, nettle has been introduced to and can be found abundantly throughout Asia, North and South America, and even Australia. Butterfly larvae consider these delicious plants.
The trick here is to loosen the soil, which is very easy to do. Look at that. No work, no hassle. I've got the full root. It's a great color. This is a really easy harvest.
Well, while Paul is busy trying not to get stung by the stinging nettle, I found another little beauty right here. Okay, so this wonderful plant is Sagebrush officinale, which is hedge mustard or European mustard. So it's a traveler, came over from Europe and North Africa. We have here black mustard or field mustard. This little guy is going to be as useful as those two wild mustards are in all the same ways. And I just love that we're at this stage where the leaves are just kind of juicy and tender, and they haven't become overly bitter at this point. So I think Paul is going to love this. And there's the mustard. Whoosh. Right to the top of the mouth. Whew. Here is last year's dried stems, stalk, and seed pods were. That's how I spotted this mustard, was actually seeing the tall dried stems standing up everywhere. Oh, that's got to be mustard. Come down, and sure enough, here's this year's growth. Now for identification, let's take note here. These leaves are what we would call pinnately divided leaves. When I say a leaf is pinnately divided or a leaf is pinnate, the easiest way to figure that out is to say it is feather-like, okay? So think pinnate, feather-like. Let's gather some more of this. This is great. So much of it. You know what, Paul? It's almost invariably the case that I come out looking for a wild edible plant and I find something better. You see this little guy? All these beautiful little white flowers all around us. This is Western Spring Beauty. This is our plant, and it is just a wonderful trait. Now, the thing about the Spring Beauty is this. It's in decline, it's felt in a lot of areas. And the reason for its decline is not over-harvesting. It's actually for a lack of harvesting. This is one of those plants that benefits by being disturbed, by being thinned out, by having its seeds spread. So in this case, we've got all this Spring Beauty all around. This is a massive patch, by the way, so we're very, very lucky. But I want you to harvest these responsibly. This is going to be your job. So there's a couple of tricks to it. Number one, if you see a rather large potato, like corm as they call it, leave that one. It will shoot out more flowers, more seeds. Let those large ones continue to put out lots of flowers. Go for the medium ones. And there's one other technique that I'd like to share with you as well. If you see dense clusters of them, which there are a few patches around here, go for those first and don't take them all. Harvest responsibly. Take one or two out, and what you're doing then, you're creating some room in the ground for perhaps the larger of them to grow even larger, put out even more flowers, spreading more seeds.
This is a treat.
All right, I leave it to you. And oh, one more thing. As always, remember, plant, meet chef. Chef, meet plant. This plant lives here 365 days a year. You're here just today. So get to know the plant, get to know the area, and just let that inspire you. Though you've got to be careful about which variety of Spring Beauty you're finding, as some are endangered in certain areas, others are abundant and spread across much of North America in all kinds of habitats.